All right. So let's turn over to our guest, huge guest of the day. Prince Siita is an impressive personality. His story is powerful. His story starts all the way from the banking sector into entrepreneurship in the media sector, and now he champions the cause of young people, young entrepreneurs in Africa. I've seen him meet with the movers and shakers of African business, the likes of Tumni Elumelu, the likes, foreign diplomats from the US, the likes of presidents and vice presidents of nations of Africa. And I just let him, first of all, introduce himself, and then he will share his story of how he grew from where he was before to where he is now. Prince Siita, please share your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much, Kenneth, and then thanks for the opportunity to engage you in this your big platform. My name is Prince Siita Sofo Hissan. I'm an entrepreneur myself, a banker by profession, and then what again? I'm the president. They said I'm the president of the AfCFTA Young Entrepreneurs Federation, and then basically we are mobilizing the African youth towards the African free continental trade area and pushing for youth and women inclusion in the free continental trade. I'm noted to be the first person to set up a successful TV station in Northern Ghana. And then, so that put me into media, making me one of the youngest CEOs in Ghana's media after I won the awards 2 consecutive times. And then I have 10 years of banking experience. I work with United Bank for Africa and then EcoBank as well. So, in the nutshell, that is me, Prince Siita Sofo Hissan from Ghana. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That is awesome. He has just made it very brief. Prince Siita Sofo has made it very brief, from banking to media to AfCFTA. But we want to hear, how did that happen? Some of us are still bankers, and some people think their money is enough. What inspired you to make that move? From banking to entrepreneurship?
I remember there was a day I was invited to pick up an award at the Kimpiski Hotel here in Ghana. And then when I went there, somebody was introducing me. They were asking me to introduce myself. And then one person jumped in and said, "Oh, Prince Siita Sofo, he cannot introduce himself. In fact, if he's introducing himself, he'll not tell you everything. So allow us to introduce him." So, for me, I have loved entrepreneurship, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. But then you see, in this our part of the world, Africa per se, the young entrepreneurs, you don't have the needed capital. There is no environment, the needed ecosystem for you to thrive and achieve your objective. So as such, when you start out, you have to build your own capital. And by building your capital means that you have to work for somebody to save some amount of money, and then also get some experience working with corporate institutions and other stuff. And then you can now be able to start your own business, and then you can move on to that. So that is what I did when I was working at UBA, and I left UBA and I joined EcoBank. Then I was learning because there's a saying that if you cannot work for somebody, certainly you cannot work for yourself. If you cannot take good care of somebody's item, you cannot also even take good care of your own item. So this is how it happens, because entrepreneur is not just somebody who starts and manages his own business. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you have to employ other entrepreneurs who also help you to be able to achieve your objectives. So this is what I believe in, that you have to be an entrepreneur, even to be able to employ another entrepreneur. Yes.
That's powerful. If I got you right, you planned to be a businessman, an entrepreneur from the beginning, and you charted your course, or was that inspiration, did it come in the middle of your career, or right from your career you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Okay, right from my career, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because my mom and dad were already entrepreneurs, and they had a supermarket in our area in Wa, coming from Upper West region of Ghana, the regional capital, which is Wa. they had their shop there and they're already doing business. So I was happy doing business with them and telling them that when I finish school, I want to do business. I want to be a big time business person. So that is where the inspiration started from childhood. So through my primary school, I used to take some fruits, mangoes to go and sell in school. My secondary school, I would sell granite cake and stuff. And all these things I was doing, it was not doing, excuse me, to survive. But God's grace, I have something small. My family was able to take care of me. But then this was what I was doing to gain a lot of experience. And because I had passion to do business, I practiced all along. So it's not surprising that when I went to the Polytechnic, I was still doing some. I formed the drama club. Later, I changed to Anti-Ace Club. And I was still like trying to find something to do and also contribute to the society. Then you will not be surprised when I joined UBA, and then I was still looking for money to do some business. And then I joined EcoBank, and I had to still register some businesses and try my hands on it while I was in the bank. And then finally, when we went to open the first branch in Tamale, Northern Ghana, I decided to venture into the media because I saw that Northern Ghana was not having any serious media house or any TV station in Northern Ghana. So I said that this is a great opportunity for me to venture into it. And by God's grace, when I ventured into it, 5 years from then, I had to resign from the bank, or less than 5 years, in order to manage my own TV station. And then from there, I had to sell it out to some of the biggest politicians here in Ghana.
Wow.
And then finally, I jumped into the African entrepreneurship space in order to create impact. And then the needed impact, yes, not only in Ghana or West Africa, but across the whole of Africa.
Wow. I mean, your story needs to be written in a book. Your story needs to, because so many questions. If this conversation was focused on your story, we could have so many questions. How do you combine your day job with running a media house for 5 years before you resign? I mean, I'm sure that's a story in itself, but that will be a story for another day. Today, we want to delve into the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, Free Trade Agreement, and how it impacts young people, young entrepreneurs in Africa. Now, we have been inspired by your move, and you mentioned that you wanted to make impact on the bigger scale, and move into Africa. That is your driver for joining the AfCFTA. Now, let me ask, from your view, what opportunities exist for small-scale entrepreneurs in Africa today with all the promises of AfTA? And do small-scale entrepreneurs have equal access to these opportunities compared to the established entrepreneurs?
So, after one cannot say that, let me even add women, because we are not dealing with women and youth,
okay,
as well as established entrepreneurs. It's a no-go area. We are aware that young entrepreneurs form about 60% of Africa's private sector or business community. The SMEs form about 60% of it. Yet still, these SMEs are in the informal sector. Earlier this year, I delivered a speech in the program in Cape Town, South Africa, organized by GTR, and I was asked the same question. And they were asking me, how do you formalize the informal sector, the SMEs? Because the banks and financial institutions are all saying that because we are not formalized, it's difficult for them to engage us. But then again, we know that entrepreneurship actually private sector drives the whole economy. But in Africa, most of our highest employers are the government sector. And people seem to rely on the government sector. Some of the reasons why this thing is happening is because there's no good ecosystem, because we believe that if there are good policies needed to support young entrepreneurs and women, entrepreneurs will automatically emerge. Because research has shown that African Development Bank did some research which shows that 1 in every 5 Africans, they start a business. 1 in every 3 to 5 people, they start a business. And then when they start this business, that means like entrepreneurship spirit is ever present in Africa. But most of these businesses are not able to survive. So when African Free Continental Trade Area started, World Bank immediately did a report, and the World Bank says that this free trade, if it is well implemented, it has the potential to bring about 100 million people out of abject poverty in the next 15 years, by 2035. And these people that are going to, they have 30 million from abject poverty and about 68% or 68 million from moderate poverty. So let's take it that 100 million in total will benefit. And these people that are going to benefit certainly are going to be women and youth. Certainly, because African Free Continental Trade is part of AU Agenda 2063. And then who stipulated there should be a lot of integration across Africa, free movement, highly developed African with technology, state-of-the-art technology and whatever. Now, so we are highly optimistic and happy about the coming of the African Free Continental Trade Area. But I can tell you that 2 years since we entered this space, there was no hope for the youth and women. And I'm saying it again because when they started with the Free Continental Trade, in a continent that have over 450 million youth across the continent, where if you add women to it, we are in the majority, and then you are doing something on African Free Continental Trade Area, and then you didn't even do any protocols for women and youth. You don't have way to engage with the youth. It's a very serious problem. And then, so when we started first, we were going to the officers, they didn't have anything on youth and women. People were turning us away. It's like, you know, honestly, it was not good. So about 5 months into the implementation of the AfTA, which trading generally officially started on 1st of January 2021, when it got to May, GIZ, the German Development Corporation, organized a seminar under the office of the African Free Continental Trade Office, the AfTA Secretariat, to engage us and to see what recommendations we could bring out so that the women and youth can be better play their role or their role when it comes to the African Free Continental Trade Area. So we had a meeting, these recommendations that AfTA can adopt to engage women and youth so that they can actively participate and benefit from the African Free Continental Trade Area. Unfortunately, the AfTA Secretariat took it into consideration and they worked it out. 1 year down the line, they were able to nominate the ambassador for women and youth, which happens to be Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is the president of Republic of Tanzania, to be the ambassador for women and youth. And they also followed it up with a conference, stakeholder conference, for us to discuss the draft protocols for trade among women and youth. So fortunately, somewhere last month, few people were selected, of which fortunately I happened to be part of the team that was selected to meet in Tanzania with His Excellency Wamkele Mene, and then all women leaders, trade ministers, deputy presidents, like women who are in powerful position. And we have the 2 women who serve in the African Union, yes, in the Ethiopian president and the Tanzanian president, and the AU vice chairperson, who is also happened to be a woman, the Ugandan vice president, as well as the former president for Joyce Banda, former president for Malawi, and then also the Liberian vice president, Jewel Taylor, wives of former president Charles Taylor. So all these people came together, including women and youth from different stakeholders, including the banking and financial institution, African Development Bank and Co., to deliberate on the way forward and how women and youth can engage in the African Free Continental Trade Area. So it is still too early, and they are going to work on the rules very soon. You see protocols for women and youth coming out, and then we will now study them and see whether that is some of the input that we gave, whether it's workable, you know, whether that's what we want. If that is what we want, then the youth and women can now engage in trade. Okay. But then again, we are saying that what the well-established people need to do trade, the youth and women need, somebody says, special discount. We need special kind of treatment because you are asking us to produce more and to export. Do we have the needed capacity in terms of know-how, in terms of finance, to be able to also achieve this feat? And the question is no.
Yeah.
Guided trade has started, with 7 African countries, and they are piloting the AfTA. Yes, but there again, if they're reducing their tariffs, there's still going to be high cost of logistics, moving products from one African country to the other African country, which leaves much to be desired. So the level playing field has it not yet been created. We are still in the process. The only thing I can say is that there was the landmark agreement, which happened just last month, where the AfTA Secretary General said that the women and youth are the engine. They've now come to accept the fact that women and youth are the engine of the African free continental trade area. We cannot do it as business as usual, where our leaders always make policies and force it down our throats, which doesn't benefit us. This new leadership led by His Excellency Wamkele Mene is highly welcomed. And then I had the opportunity to personally have some discussions with him, and I'm looking forward to engaging him to, once we're back in Ghana, to discuss how the women and youth can engage further. Just a few days ago, I received a powerful delegation from the United States of America. One happened to be from the office of the president, the executive office of the president of the US. And then they came and we had a couple of meetings. And they're also trying to see how US can also benefit from the AfTA, And then they are trying to find out how our engagement with the government and co are going. And they are also interested in promoting stakeholder engagement with organizations like us, which is very critical in mobilization of women and youth. So it's still early days yet. We're still waiting for the protocols to come up so that we can study them and see how feasible they are, or how adaptable they are, or how viable they are to women and youth. Until then, the youth and women are still folding their arms and then waiting, which is certainly what we have to do, because they don't have funding. Information on women and youth participation in AfTA is very scanty. Ghana launched their framework. Kenya to launch the AfTA framework. Take a look at the Ghana's framework, and you can see that there's very scanty information about how women and youth are going to be engaged in AfTA. Now, so many institutions, even government institutions, are asking me to tell them how, because if you go to the AfTA office, certainly you cannot get it. Go to Trade Ministry, you cannot get it. So we at AfCFTA Young Entrepreneurs Federation, we've offered a solution. When the US people engage us, they said, do we have a solution as to how the African Free Continental Trade Area can engage women and youth in trade policies and other stuff? I said, yes, AfYEF has the destiny. We have the men. In fact, we have the plans, we have the strategy. We need to be engaged so that we can possibly offer that kind of opportunity for women and youth to be able to take active part in the African Free Continental Trade. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you so much, sir. And you've said some amazingly powerful things. First and foremost, the AfCFTA has promised to lift 100 million Africans from poverty in 2035. And if we're speaking about the future, we must be speaking about the youth. And you said, based on the current protocols, the current structure of the AfCFTA, there's no provision for women and youth. And it doesn't make sense if we're trying to build the future for Africa. And you have stepped into that space to promote, or to request, or to almost demand that somehow we should be, included, or the young people and the women should be included in the whole structure of those protocols. Now, let me ask, are you permitted to give us a kind of like a summary of your proposals to the governments of Africa and to the leadership of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement?
For us, what we want them to do is that they should let the youth and women all come under one umbrella, possibly our federation.
Okay.
Any youth and women that goes to them, they should refer them to us. Let's form a formidable force. We have our leadership. So at the continental level, we will have our our Continental members represent at their Continental office to push for women and youth activities there. Then in the national, all the 54 AU nations, we will have, they all have national coordination office, NCOs. Every trade ministry or foreign affairs or office of integration, all of them, they have a team called National Coordinating Office. That is purposely for AfCFTA. So what we are saying is that since they have a team for National Coordinating Office, they should get our rep to represent the youth and women at the national levels so that we can better be engaged when it comes to the free continental trade area. So this is what we have told them. We've actually written to them to tell them they should partner us. But I think that, as I told you earlier on, they didn't start with us in mind. So it was very difficult for them to know that where do we come in. There were even some offices, and that's how we go, they will just turn us away. Because the truth of the matter is that they don't have any plan for women and youth. So if you are coming to us, they only disguise themselves. So they will just turn you away, which is true. So what we are proposing is that, and we have been doing this for the past 2 years, because from the word go, we know that if we don't push for inclusion of women and youth, we will be left out again, just as it has been left out, or politicians have always paid lip service to engagement of women and youth. They've always taken us for granted and used us to score political points. So we are saying that, no, let's mobilize ourselves and then let's talk to these people. And we have a saying in our language that you don't shout at the elephant with an empty mouth. The elephant is a very huge, big animal that if you want the elephant to listen to you or stop destroying your items, what to do, you have to shoot at it so that it will pierce the skin and let it enjoy the pain small. Then it will be forced to turn. So our African governments and then AU leaders, they are like elephant or AfCFTA, they are like elephants. So we, the youth, they don't actually take us serious. So we need to mobilize as we are doing now. So we did it several times, and finally, AfCFTA is now including women and youth in the protocols. So we might see that it's slow, but then there's hope at the end of the tunnel. After I personally had a discussion with the Secretary General himself, he's full of hope for the youth. Though he's an institution, he's not the only person. There are so many people working against the involvement of women and youth. That one day I can say that, because the way we are treated when we go to the offices to ask for information and stuff, it seems the people even working there don't even know the role of women and youth there. So, but we are optimistic that since the AfCFTA Secretary General is somebody like us, we believe that he will push for more engagement of women and youth when it comes to the AfCFTA. So it's a slow progress, but little by little, I can tell you that we are making a lot of headways. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So can I assume that small-scale entrepreneurs who want to benefit from this potentially new protocols, they will stand a better chance joining the foundation? AfYEF, yes, please.
Sure. You see, that is why we are saying that the youth should mobilize. Everybody should join our federation. As we are joining our federation, what we are doing is that we are building capacity of our members, updating you with the AfCFTA protocols and whatever is happening, trade and stuff. We are going to assist members to be able to export under AfCFTA. We are going to network members together. As at now, most of our registered members are already doing business because we have people from Zambia, Cameroon, Kenya that have registered with us, South Africa. So somebody from Ghana is having the smoke or the kente. Somebody in Kenya is interested in it.
Wow.
They trade, yes, because trade is actually going on. But AfCFTA wants to encourage production of local products. When you are producing from Africa, then you have some tax exemptions. There is no barrier for you when it comes to trading among Africa. Now, let me even state this point. The purpose of the African Free Continental Trade Area is to boost intra-African trade. When we talk about intra-African trade, what we are talking about is trade within Africa, within the 54 AU nations. Because research has shown that we trade more with countries outside Africa than within Africa.
Yeah.
So you would find Dangote complaining, Elijah Liko Dangote, who happens to be the richest man in Africa, he will complain that they don't allow his cement to go into Benin, Benin Republic, because Benin Republic has to buy cement from China. These are established people, but then they are not able to even trade. How much more you and I? So these are some of the barriers that we are pushing to be lifted, so that we currently trade 16%. That is the trade Africa we do among ourselves, 16%. So they believe the number is very, very low. And some of these, our unemployment situation, we are suffering from, even in Ghana here, our city is falling, you know, against the dollar. It's not strong and that kind of stuff. But the idea is that if we were able to do business among ourselves, it will go a long way to actually benefit us. So we are saying that the youth, we cannot do it all alone. Is it strength in unity? Yes. So we are saying that everybody should join our federation and pay something small, at least $10, $100, or even $1. Join and be a member. Then we can speak with one voice and be able to ensure that the trade policies will favor the youth. We have timely information on trade. If our members are having difficulty moving their product from one country to the other, we can support them to be able to do so. If the person needs funding, we'll support them to do so. If the person needs access to information on or access to other markets, we are going to do so, because the African youth is very hungry. There are no jobs. And then we have to support ourselves. If not, as the youth are growing, we become a threat to the well-established people. So we are saying that we are not going to push for you for political empowerment. We want to push for economic empowerment. That is what AfCFTA Young Entrepreneurs is doing. And we are saying that the shoemakers in Nigeria, I have been with shoemakers in Ghana. I've gone to Kumasi Shoe Factory. I've listened to them. I listened to their challenges. They import leather from China. That's what I wanted to. They import leather from China. Meanwhile, my research has shown that they can import leather from Ethiopia here. Leather can be imported cheaply from Ethiopia. And this is exactly what the African Free Continent, yes, Ethiopia, yes. They are one of the leading producers of leather in the world. So they can just import it from Ethiopia to Ghana cheaply and easier and much faster. So these are some of the premises in which we are talking about AfCFTA, so that at least the shoemakers in Nigeria can also produce it and export easily to Ghana, West Africa, to East Africa, to Southern Africa, to Northern Africa, to Central Africa, to any part of Africa. That is what we are saying.
Wow. This is so exciting. This is so exciting.
Yes.
And the next question I will have for you in just as a follow-up is, which countries does the YEF have presence in, so that the young entrepreneurs can join from those countries?
Okay, currently we're in about 15 African countries. Though we have a few challenge in terms of how members are able to pay. We had an agreement with Flutterwaves to help us receive payments. Kenyans were able to register. When I was in Tanzania have other issues registering using the Flutterwaves platform. We went to Cameroonian are okay. And South Africans has a bit of problem. And then we also have Namibia. They're also interested. People have registered from there, but said they didn't use that platform. They had to send monies across, you know, long procedures in doing that. We also have members in the Gambia. We have about 4 Francophone countries, including Niger, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Senegal. You know, these are kind of the active groups from the Francophone countries. Now we have Ghana, we have Nigeria. Nigerians, I'm sorry to say that, you know, sometimes some of these youth try to play a bit of smart game or something like that.
Yes, yes.
When we introduced the thing to Nigeria, we were actually happy the rate at which, and the Nigerian High Commissioner was one of the people that even came to our lunch, and then they welcomed the idea. And then I had the opportunity to speak to Nigerian youth, even the student leadership. I went to Nigeria to deliver a speech and that kind of stuff. But then they decided to take our organization and broke away. So officially, we've closed our operations in Nigeria. But then we are also hopeful that we'll get a new breed of committed youth who will be committed to their cause, and then for us to be able to achieve our objective. And Zambia is one of our most vibrant places. We have Morocco and other stuff, but these ones that I've mentioned, we have roots in about 15 to 22 African countries, like presence, members, presence. But then those I've mentioned are those that are actually very active. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, our look is back in the chat, but let me move on to the next question. So, I mean, it's sad that you got into the wrong set of Nigerians. There are 250 million of us. So definitely there'll be the bad ones and the good ones. But I do hope that the structure will be revived, and because I think it makes sense what the vision is for AfYEF makes a lot of sense for the young people, for the women, for smaller scale entrepreneurs to take advantage of. So if you're listening to us on this call, join the AfYEF, join in, let's make our point known with the numbers, and like Prince Siita said, shoot the elephants so that they can pay attention. All right, I'll ask you the next question, the next major question. Do you think the African government and business leaders are aligning with the long-term vision of AfCFTA? You may have spoken to this a little also, but let me still state it. And how do you see Africa's future in the context of the AfCFTA, and based on how the business leaders and the political leaders are handling the show? Onka, you're welcome back. Please go ahead. Siita.
Okay, as at now, what I can say is that they've demonstrated political will. Why am I saying so? When they, in 2018, when they made the Rwandan declaration on AfCFTA, so many African leaders decided that they were interested, and over 20 people signed instantly that they are interested in the AfCFTA. And this is one of the few kind of deals or kind of, let me say, projects that the African leaders, like, they didn't think twice about it, but they endorsed it. So certainly it's something that they are showing political commitment. So 54 of them finally signed for AfCFTA to be implemented. And then now over 40 of them have also ratified it. So meaning we are just left with a few for them to finish ratifying the AfCFTA agreement, with the exception of Eritrea that has not yet signed it. So for that particular one, I would say that they have the political will to ensure that AfCFTA is implemented. But there again, I'll still say that when it comes to the youth and women, it's very difficult for them to engage us. That one, they have not shown political will to involve women and youth. And then we believe that since the AfCFTA Secretariat is going to come out with a protocol for women and youth, maybe that one will now tell the political leaders how important federations like ours is to them, and the need for them to invite us into the table, to engage us, to support us, so that we can be able to achieve our objective, because they cannot achieve these objectives alone. We've said that the AfCFTA Secretariat doesn't do trade. The national offices, national coordinating offices, doesn't do trade. What they do is that they just facilitate trade. We have the people, we have the traders. We are those who are going to do it. And then we are those who have the women and the men who want to do cross-border trade. So we are going to benefit from it. So we want them to support us, create the enabling environment for women and youth to be able to do trade. Africans, like Nigerians, are in Nigeria. They are doing a lot of wonderful stuff. A lot of Nigerians are entrepreneurs. They just want opportunity and markets to sell their products.
Yeah.
So we don't see any problem with supporting them to export their product to the other African countries. So for me, when I meet most of the government wings, agencies, I ask them, if you see a young person having product or services, can you invest in it and pay to sell it to other African countries? The question is always no. So for me, this is what I can say.
The engagement with the youth is still poor, right? They are not seeing the future. They are talking about the future, but the commitment is not yet there. They are talking about 2035, but those who will be leading the nations in 2035 need to be better engaged if we are serious. Wow. Okay, we have about 10 minutes to go. I want us to dig deeper into the other question, the customer side of the conversation. We are talking about intra-African trade, and you just mentioned that while we have a lot of hides in Ethiopia, in fact, in a previous conversation, Shadrach Kubiani mentioned that Ethiopia sells hides to big players, I think in Italy or in Europe, and they're able to make a bag out of the hides of these cows, and they sell the bags back to us at the cost of 84 cows. You know, so you buy the hide from one cow, you sell it, the value is, you know, that's some kind of imbalance of trade. Meanwhile, Benin, or a country here, Ghana rather, is buying hides from all the way from China. So yes, we want the trade to improve. But the question I want to ask is, in terms of the appetite of the average African for things made locally, what is your experience in that area? What are your thoughts in that area? Do we have enough appetite locally in terms of consumer appetite for things that are made locally to even drive this trade, intra-African trade? Please share with your thoughts on that.
For me, that is a whole new area that we have to deal with. Because I believe that most of the youth of Africa, because of our indoctrination, most of our people don't like made in Africa goods and products. They don't like it. Even though if it is quality, we underrate our own products. So Africa itself needs to sell itself among Africans. But then you can see that because of our, as I said, the way we were colonized, our minds were colonized. That is why Prophet Bob Marley said that emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Most of us are still not emancipated mentally, you know. So until we realize, even now, some of the health products, there's this tea that I normally buy, they import it from Nigeria, and I like it so much. In Ghana, we call it sobolo.
Yeah,
you might know it.
Yeah.
So yes, sobolo. Yeah, that kind of thing. So it's very nice, and then they package it nicely from Nigeria, and they import it here into the country. They have very good health effects. They said that thing is better than even ginger, because so things made from Africa. I've been to, when I was in Tanzania, land of spices. I went to the spice farms. I saw a lot of natural products that are good for our consumptions. But then we tend to leave it and go for the Maggies and those kind of stuff. So which have health effects on our bodies. But as people are being educated and then yes, being emancipated, let me use that word, most of them now know that it's better for us to consume natural products. And Africans, we have it.
Yeah.
It is better for our health and for us to live long and whatever. So there's a lot of education that has to be done. But that said, I'm only talking about quality product or services. We cannot say that because the thing is coming from Africa, we will just take anything African. No, we need to ensure that we put quality first instead of quantity. We need to ensure that we produce products and services that can meet world standard, if nothing at all, African standard, or that can equally compete with other products that is come from other countries. If we're able to do this, we are supposed to add value to our product and services instead of selling them raw. I have most of my members doing shea butter, and then we are trying to see how can we package them nicely? How can we add a bit of perfumes to them? How can we put some kind of value in them? I just returned from one of our members who produces honey, and the honey he does is very nice. I have so many people doing honey, but then his honey, the way he does the packaging, I just picked one. The way he does the packaging and everything is very nice. So that is why we are saying that. I don't know whether you can see it well or
wow, yeah,
very nice. You can just use one at a time.
Yeah. Wow,
yes,
nice one.
But nice packaging. So you can just use one for your teacup and stuff. So this is what we are talking about. So we want to see how do we help him to be able to export across Africa? How do we move? So I've been tied with these entrepreneurs daily. We are all trying to add value to their businesses, get them access to market. With something like this, you can sell it to an Ethiopian airline or Kimpiski Hotel. They will want to order, which makes it handy, very nice. So we cannot say that because we are from Africa, you can just buy anything. No, the market is becoming sophisticated. So nobody controls it, demand and supply. So we have to go there with better product or services. Thank you.
Okay, so please, what's the name of that sachet honey?
It's called Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Lifetime, yes, Lifetime, yes.
That's awesome. So let me.
It's called Lifetime.
Lifetime. Okay, I've just seen it. Lifetime honey. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Now, can I assume that the AfYEF also does some quality control in terms of the kind of entrepreneurs that are onboarded or the kind of products that are onboarded? Is that in place now, or is there a mechanism around that?
Oh, for now, we are only, we've not had a full established mechanism. We are still trying to learn and adapt. And then we are also based on our own assessment, because from Ghana here, I think before you can export, you have to have FDA. Yes. So we ensure that all our members who want to have the FDA, you are registered, you have FDA. And then according to the laws, that if you want to export, you have to have standard authorities license or clearance. So we want them to acquire the basic things that you need, and all these things go through checks. Yes. So if you're able to go through the checks, automatically we believe that you are market ready. So we have to assist our members to be able to go through some of these, and at a point there are some you even have to pay for them to go and acquire such licenses, because they don't have funding, but they have very good products, they have good ideas, and they need to improve. And improvement comes with costs. Yeah. Sometimes they know what to do, but because they don't have the money, they're unable to do it. And they need somebody to help them. And that is where we come in. Now, talking about Nigeria, for example, your population, as you mentioned, about 250 million or over 200 million. Yeah. What AfYEF we are just asking that if you get 1 million, just 1 million, it's not even 1% of your population. 1% will be about
2.5.
2.5 million. Okay, so let's say 2.5 million. So 2.5 million members, each one paying just $10 per year. That means that we're talking about 250 or 25 million, 25 million US dollars for only Nigeria. Yes. So now, if we are running our federation in Nigeria, and we are sure to get at least 25 million US dollars, we can run our office, we can invest some of the money, because this money, every club or association normally raise funds to run the federation.
Yeah.
But what we are saying is that we are not going to just be like any other federation. What we want to be is I want to be a viable federation. We want to be impacting on the youth. So if we have our member who has a good product that needs $50,000 to scale up, and we know that if you invest $50,000 into this organization, it will employ about additional 100 people.
Yeah.
Give them very good livelihood, women and youth, create jobs, and help support government in reducing unemployment in Nigeria. Why won't it be a good cause? Wow. And when we calculate like this, and then the Nigerian youth see the money, they say, let's share the money. So I tell the guy that we are not in money sharing game. We are here to fulfill a purpose, and we want to create the needed impact in the lives of our youth. Because if we say our leaders have disappointed us, the question is that what are we doing ourselves to better our situation instead of doing the claim, the blame game?
Yeah.
I keep asking you, I keep asking our youth. So what is the role we are also playing? Yes, they have messed us up. Yes, they didn't do well. Yes, they have colonized us. Yes, the colonizers are gone. What is our own leaders doing to us? Our own people who used to go and take loans to come and help our economy, help produce jobs. We're asking our African leaders, what at all are they doing for us? Why is it that the rate of unemployment is still very high? Ghana has gone to IMF several times. They're going to IMF again. If they get the IMF loans, how many new jobs is it going to create? We keep asking the same questions and then nothing happens. So we are saying that if our leaders have disappointed us, we cannot deceive ourselves, neither can we disappoint ourselves. That is why we are saying that we need selfless individuals who are ready to serve and volunteer. And until we get an African or African youth that says that I want to serve, I want to invest, or I'm ready to sacrifice, the future we are talking about is just a fiasco. And these are the same people that when they give political positions, they still mess up. Yeah. They disappoint others because everybody is always about himself or herself, himself or herself. But then we have to see what can we do to support and then change the status quo. And some people have to be sacrificed. In fact, some people have to even sacrifice themselves so that others can come and benefit and enjoy. And then we, in our lifetime, we happen to meet the establishment of the African Free Continental Trade Area, the biggest trade area in terms of participating countries. And an African is also the director for the World Trade Organization. Yeah. And I was among the people who campaigned for Ngozi. I'm not very active on Twitter, Twitter, but if you check we've done in collaboration with my partners from Nigeria, we did a lot of campaign using my TV station here in Ghana to campaign for her. Unfortunately, she's the World Trade Organization. So Africa should lead the world trade. So this is what we are doing, but Africa is calling for more committed youth and women. I keep telling my team that, you see, people are trying to pollute us. They are trying to, it's just like name a dog a bad name and then kill it.
Hang it.
Hang it, good. So we are saying that so what we are saying is that the leaders are saying that this small boy, these boys, they are not serious. They are not serious. They are doing the thing for the money. And then we want to show them that we are more serious than them. So we should not have any iota of doubt. We should be people who are peerless. We are people of integrity. And then we are people who are ready to volunteer. It's not all about the money. Because sometimes me, even sitting in this small position, I meet a lot of projects that I feel like I could benefit myself and forget about my members. But I said, no, every project comes, how will AfYEF members benefit? How will the Federation benefit? So I've set out my private business away and I'm pushing this agenda. And then when I see that my members are not ready to benefit, are not going to benefit, then I know that it's a non-starter for us. So this is what we, the youth, have to also do. If not, the leader will say, you see them, we just gave them a small position. See, they are fighting over them, over each other, fighting over money, and they are not united. And these are some of the things some people like us want to avoid. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince Siita. This is powerful, and there's so much that has been said in this conversation. And I think the AfYEF is doing an amazing job. The vision is clear, the vision is big, and the vision is really relevant to the future of Africa. And I'd like to encourage those entrepreneurs out there, young people, women, everywhere in every country of Africa. Try to get connected on this train that is moving. Let's make the best of what we have now and prepare a future for our children as they come. We've been, this is Emancipate Africa, and we've been talking to Prince Siita, the president of the African Youth Engagement Forum, the AfCFTA Youth Engagement Federation, rather, and the AfYEF. He's visible on LinkedIn, very visible, and you will find what he's been doing is amazing. Please connect, ask questions, get involved, make a contribution, and avoid trying to hoodwink or outsmart the system. I mean, we have our future to build. So once again, Prince Siita, I thank you very much for coming along, and I would like to ask you to just say your final closing remarks for this conversation as we close out.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity given me. And I want to thank all those who are the other speakers too on board. And I also want to thank the viewers and the listeners to this program. And now I encourage them to keep listening to such conversations. Let's discuss the future. They should keep sharing such conversations. And they should let us all be contributing to such conversations. For me, I like to see such platforms. And then I value such platforms because the work is not for only one person. Everybody has your contribution that you have to make this thing work. And then we can all contribute in several ways. And then for you, this is how you are contributing. And I like your tenacity and your persistence and then your focus. And I know that there will be a time will come that this platform, people cannot even enter it because it will have a lot of followers. Yeah. And then everybody should be on board. Everybody should come on board. As we said, it's a moving train. Whether you join or you don't join, that train is moving. So it's better for you to join so that we can take you from one angle to the other. A lot of African youth, they complain a lot. Everybody talk about the problem, but nobody wants to be part of the solution. And then we want to move from problem talkers to what we need to change the new Africa. And the future is never tomorrow. The future is now, and the future is with us. Because in Africa, the future never comes. So we are no more future leaders. We are no more future leaders. The future is here. In fact, we have to lead. If they refuse to bring us to the decision-making table, they should take their table. We are going to create our own table.
Yes.
We are coming in with our own chairs, and we will come and sit and make our own decisions. This is what we are ready to do. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prince. I appreciate you so much. God bless you. And I'm sure we'll have another opportunity to have conversations with you. This is Emancipate Africa, and it's been a wonderful